What's up, everybody? JT Sports back to you guys with another video. I'm here with my Oakland Raiders versus the Los Angeles Rams. 2019 NFL Week 1 preseason preview. Going to be previewing this game versus the Raiders and the Rams. And I'm going to be talking about some things to look out for, some players to watch for both sides of the ball on both teams. So make sure to stick around and like the video and subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos and NFL content daily. So some things to watch for this game. I'm watching the Oakland Raiders offensive line. The Oakland Raiders offensive line last season was a big surprise because I didn't think they were going to be that bad. I actually thought they were going to be a really solid group. And when you look at the players who they had on that offensive line, it was just like, wow. I mean, it was just shocking. It was just shocking what happened with that offensive line last year. I was really, really surprised. I thought that offensive line was going to end up finishing the last season in top 10 of the NFL before the 2018 NFL season start, but wow, I was just really surprised. So in the preseason, I'm definitely going to be looking out for the offensive line because the offensive line was a big part of Derek Carr's struggle because they kind of struggled to protect him. So they need to give Derek Carr some better protection this season if they're looking to make it to the playoffs this year. And I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on the offensive line. There's also a little bit of a position battle there for who's going to end up filling in for Richie Incognito because he's going to be suspended for the first couple of games this year. So I'm definitely watching out for that Oakland Raiders offensive line as well. Next, I'm looking at the wideouts. Now, Antonio Brown, he has some kind of injury to his foot because it's like a frostbite injury. And from what I've been reading, that frostbite injury might keep him out a little bit longer than what a lot of people expect. So, Antonio Brown, I'm looking for a wide receiver who's going to end up stepping up until we find out the status of Antonio Brown. So I'm just looking at all these other wide receivers who they had. They had guys like J.J. Nelson, and they picked up my guy Jordan Lashley as well. So I'm eager to see what other wide receivers who they have in the roster who ends up stepping up in this game. They also have a couple of young wide receivers as well who I really like a lot, like Hunter Renfrow. So I'm eager to see how those guys fare in this preseason matchup versus the LA Rams. Now the last thing I'm looking for in the Oakland Raiders is watching for their defense. I'm looking for some kind of improvement. I'm expecting that this Oakland Raiders team on the defense side of the ball improves from where they were last season. They improved their free agency a lot. Got Montez Burfict. You also got Brandon Marshall there as well. So that's a pretty solid linebacker unit there. So I'm eager to see how improved this defense for the Oakland Raiders is going to be in this preseason matchup for the short time that we see them on the field. Then I also am looking at a couple of rookie corners and rookie defensive backs who they have on the roster who they drafted in this past year's NFL draft. So some things that I'm looking for out of the LA Rams, I want to see what Blake Bortles does. I want to see what Blake Bortles does. And in particular, I'm eager to see what he does because of Sean McVay. Now, Sean McVay, I want to see, is his system able to help quarterbacks? Does it benefit quarterbacks? And does the system elevate Blake Bortles because we saw what Blake Bortles was last season with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Blake Bortles has came out and said off season that Sean McVay is the best coach that he's ever worked with, and I'm eager to see what he does in this preseason matchup. I just want to see if this Sean McVay system is able to be effective when it comes to guys like Blake Bortles, and does it make every quarterback that's able to play in the system better. So I just want to see can any quarterback play in this system and have some success with it. So that's why I'm eager to see what Blake Bortles does. I also want to see how much Blake Bortles has improved since he's been talking so much about how good of a coach Sean McVay has been. Then I'm looking at the halfback. So we already know what's going on with Todd Gurley. He's been downplaying the rumors, talking about it's the media is blowing it out of proportion, which I believe that it am. I don't really think that Todd Gurley's knee is going to be a big, big issue when it comes to the whole entire season. Yeah, they might limit a little bit of his carries to other guys on their roster, but I don't think that's necessarily going to have a big impact on Todd Gurley this whole entire season. And he even came out and said that the media is kind of blowing his knee and injury problems out of proportion. So we already know the media has a tendency to do that. And plus it's the off season. So it's really not a lot of things to talk about in this off season, especially at this point during the NFL off season. So I'm eager to see which one of these halfbacks step up if Todd Gurley does indeed go down some point of the season, and which of these halfbacks steps up in this game and who could end up being a solid replacement or who could end up cutting into some of those reps, giving Todd Gurley a break during the season if the LA Rams do intend to monitor Todd Gurley's workload. So some players I'm looking forward to watching for the LA Rams. I'm looking at quarterback Blake Bortles, like I said earlier. I want to see how good he's going to be in the Sean McVay system. I want to see is this system able to elevate quarterbacks, and can any quarterback be elevated in the system? So that's why I'm eager to see what Blake Bortles does in his game. And then I'm looking at rookie halfback Darrell Henderson. He should be able to go in this game. And this was a guy who was very explosive during his time playing for Memphis. And a lot of people, not just me from a fantasy football standpoint, want to see what Darrell Henderson does, because Darrell Henderson is most likely going to be probably a 7th round, 8th round pickup in most fantasy football leagues, just because a lot of people are expecting him to be that guy who steps up and kind of limits Todd Gurley's workload. So I'm eager to see what he does in this game. Then I'm looking at former last chance U-Star linebacker Dakota Allen. I think Dakota Allen was really, really good when he was playing for Texas Tech. And I'm really, really excited to see what he does in this game versus the LA Rams. And he should be in for a very good amount of time. He should be in for a very solid amount of time. So I'm eager to see what he does there. Then I'm looking at rookie cornerback David Long out of the University of Michigan. I thought he was one of the better cornerbacks in this draft. I actually had him going in the first round. Actually, I actually thought he was a first round talent, but that didn't happen. But I think David Long is a very solid cornerback, and I want to see what he does in this game as well. Then I'm looking at safety Taylor Rapp out of Washington. I want to see what he does in this game for the LA Rams in this game as well. So looking at some players to watch for the Oakland Raiders, they have a lot of them. First, I'm looking at my guy Nathan Peterman, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, just playing. But I want to see what Nathan Peterman does, because Nathan Peterman has been saying, it's been a couple of reports out there that's been saying that Nathan Peterman has been looking like a whole entirely different quarterback. Now, I don't know if people who are writing these articles are trolling or pulling my leg, or if they are really, really serious about it. But I want to see for myself what Nathan Peterman does. And John Gruden picked him up in free agency, so it had to be a reason, had to be something that he saw in Nathan Peterman that would make him want to try to see if Nathan Peterman can end up making his roster. So I want to see what Nathan Peterman does in this preseason game versus the LA Rams. Then I'm looking at halfback Josh Jacobs. How much are we going to see of Josh Jacobs, and how many carries is he going to get in this game? I don't think we'll see a lot of Josh Jacobs, even if he. I'm even wondering if he ends up playing in this game. But if we do see Josh Jacobs, I'm eager to see how many series he plays and how many carries he plays, or how many carries he gets in this game. So I want to see what Josh Jacobs does. And a lot of people are really, really excited about Josh Jacobs. A lot of people think he could end up having a pretty solid rookie year, not only because of his power and things like that, because he's also underrated catching the ball out of the backfield as well. And a lot of people don't really give him the credit he deserves for his catching ability, because he's pretty solid when it comes to catching the ball out of the backfield. And he also has pretty good hands. And I think that's something that people are overlooking out of Josh Jacobs. Then at the wide receiver position, they have a lot of guys there, but I'm not going to list them all. I only listed a couple. J.J. Nelson. Now, J.J. Nelson was a guy who's kind of looking to get his career on track. His career has kind of went downhill since the last a couple of seasons now. So this is a guy who's looking to kind of resurrect his career, and he should get a pretty solid amount of targets, pretty solid amount of reps in this game here. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in this game. Then I'm looking at a rookie wide receiver like a Hunter Renfrow. Now, I think Hunter Renfrow reminds me a lot of a Cole Beasley / Julian Edelman hybrid. He has okay size if he ends up playing that slot receiver position. He has great hands. He's very reliable target going across the middle. So I want to see what Hunter Renfrow does in this game. I'm really excited about Hunter Renfrow, because this guy just reminds me of a stronger / hybrid version of Julian Edelman and Cole Beasley. So I want to see what Hunter Renfrow does in this game. And I'm eager to see what my guy Keelan Doss does. Now, Keelan Doss, this guy is a small school guy. I think he came out of UC Davis, I believe. Now, Keelan Doss is a guy I'm really, really excited about. He has good size, and he has incredible athleticism and speed. And I'm really, really excited about seeing this guy in this game. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Keelan Doss, and I think he can end up making this roster with a solid performance in these next couple of preseason games. Then the last receiver I'm looking at, Jordan Lasley. Now, Jordan Lasley got released by the Baltimore Ravens a couple of days ago and got picked up by the Oakland Raiders. Now, Jordan Lasley, I think, has a lot of untapped potential, and I really hope that he comes out here and he makes an impact in this game for the Oakland Raiders if he's looking to make this roster because I thought he could end up. I thought he was going to end up being a starter receiver this season for the Oakland Raiders or for the Baltimore Ravens, but then he got released. So I'm eager to see what he does for this Oakland Raiders team in this preseason game. Then I'm looking at that left guard spot, Jonathan Cooper. Now, Jonathan Cooper is listed on as their second string left guard, according to Islands.com. So when Richie Incognito is serving his suspension for the first couple of weeks of the season, Jonathan Cooper is a guy who is supposed to be filling in for him until Incognito comes back. Now, Jonathan Cooper, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on him in this preseason game just because he should get a solid amount of reps in this game. And he should be in for a couple of series in this game as well. Simply for the fact that he is going to be the guy who's going to be filling in for Richie Incognito. So they kind of want to see where he's at. Then at the defense side of the ball, looking at defensive ends, Cleveland Farrell, they took him in this year's draft over Josh Allen. Really, really surprised there. But I want to see what he does in this game. Then I also want to see what Max Crosby does. I think Max Crosby is a really, really underrated player on this Oakland Raiders defense when it comes to rookies. And I think Max Crosby could end up starting because Arden Key and all those other defensive ends who they have in the roster aren't necessarily the best of defensive ends. So I think Max Crosby could end up competing for some early playing time if he comes out here and he has a solid game and a solid preseason because this is a guy who went very, very underlooked when the NFL draft process started out of Eastern Michigan. This guy was an absolute monster when he was playing for Eastern Michigan. So I'm eager to see what he does. Then I'm looking at a guy like linebacker Tavon Conley out of Notre Dame University. He's pretty solid. Very good in coverage. Then I'm looking at cornerback Trayvon Mullen, the cousin of Lamar Jackson. Now, Trayvon Mullen, I really, really like his film for Clemson. Yeah, he had a little bit of inconsistent games there, but I think he's a pretty solid cornerback, and we definitely could see Trayvon Mullen competing for some early playing time or that starting spot there, one of those cornerback positions. And the last player I'm looking forward to watching is Jonathan Abram. Now, I told Oakland Raiders fans in my mock draft that they would end up taking Jonathan Abram because this guy's a smacker. He's a punishing safety. He likes to punish wide receivers from coming across the middle, and he's a guy who's going to make wide receivers scared straight to come across the middle and run routes his way. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does there. So this is it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.